Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am Claire. I am a GIS developer at Esri UK. And in this role, I undertake a blend of projects to help shape the future of the ArcGIS system. And I do this through research and innovation projects. So I'm going to take a slightly different spin and highlight some alternative routes into Esri UK. So I joined Esri UK just 2 years ago. And before that, I had 4 other jobs in the 8 years since I graduated. So I'm really looking to highlight today that there's no wrong path, whether that be in education, looking for your first graduate position, or even if you're deciding to retrain later in your life or career. There's really no wrong path, just lots of different ones with really valuable lessons and experiences. So I'm going to take you through my own path before reaching Esri UK, and then I'll cover some examples of what I get up to in my role as a GIS developer, the opportunities that I've had to develop and progress here. So you'll see why, as I go through a little bit of my background, why I've really resonated personally with the No Wrong Path campaign. So I grew up in Fife in central Scotland, and at secondary school, I was really initially engaged with languages. So I picked up French and Spanish, and I really wanted to pursue a career in translation. But that quickly got derailed by picking up geography. So through standard grade geography, which I believe is now Nat 5 in Scotland and the equivalent to a GCSE, I started to develop a really keen interest in our natural environment, its journey and how it was shaped through time. And I was really inspired by the landscapes around me everywhere that I went. So family trips to Kinlochrannoch, and I seen lots more diverse landscapes on our family holidays up north, and it left me really inspired to learn more. So I'd started to think about what I could study at university to facilitate this and to also kind of share my passion for geography. So I did what a lot of young people do. I asked my careers advisor and of course Google. And what I found was become a geography teacher. And so I set out on that path to teach geography at Stirling University. I was really pleased with myself, but not completely informed decision because I wasn't really aware of the other careers that I could do. And I just want to add now that there is absolutely nothing at all wrong with wanting to be a geography teacher. You'll just see that it just wasn't really the path for me. So in my geography modules, I discovered GIS. So it was ArcMap at the time that we were using, and I was using it to map vulnerable environments and capture research data to make informative maps and perform analysis. I was really captivated by it, and at that point I was really starting to understand a bit more about what careers were available with geography, and decided that teaching just wasn't really for me at that time, so I transitioned to a geography degree. But I did set out at this point with the commitment to finding other ways to give back to young people in the future. I graduated from a BSc in environmental geography and then went on to complete an MSc in energy and the environment, and was quickly then back to thinking about how can I go about sharing my passion for geography and feel like I'm making contribution to not only just important work, but also finding a way to sort of give back. So I went back to the drawing board and was thinking, should I give teaching one more try? And so I did. I went back to university to do a PDG in education at Edinburgh University. But again, I shortly realised that it really just wasn't for me. So I really had to sit down and ask myself a really serious question. What is it that I want to do every day? And I settled on this statement. I just wanted to get to work, open GIS every day and share how we can use it to make a real difference. But I also really do want to find a way to give back to the community. So I set out to get my first graduate job after many applications, auto rejection emails, lots of interviews, some more rejections. I eventually got my first graduate job at Scottish Water. So I was working here in the water industry. And I used GIS here to assess the risk of water mains bursting. So this was a really traditional desk-based in-house GIS team. And it was my first experience, professional experience of GIS, but also of automation and documentation. Because here I managed to identify some GIS processes that I thought that we could automate to kind of save time. and I picked up some hints and tips on an Esri Learning Introduction to Python course, which meant that I was able to automate some processes with no coding experience just by replacing a few file names from the tutorial. So as you can imagine, this started to get me really interested and excited about how I could start to use these programming languages to innovate and help develop these better working practices. So I then moved on to a company called Minerva, which was a startup company in the water sector in a very similar field and domain to the work that I was doing at Scottish Water, but branching this out across the UK to other water companies. So here I was working sort of more directly with clients and customers on their business problems and taking on more of a GIS consultant role. And it was during this time that I also started to see the industry was starting to embrace automation for reducing processing times and letting technical consultants move away from really tedious manual GIS processes to building automated workflows with Python, for example. So in my own time, I started the process of teaching myself to code. I was really excited about what was possible, and I wanted to facilitate a sort of digital transformation in my company and with my clients. So I did this using a mixture of resources. I used Esri Learning for more specific GIS courses with Python, and then I used some free resources like freecodecamp.org for more in-depth theory of the coding languages themselves. And my long-term plan for doing this was to transition into a developer type role. So I then moved to WSP, which is a large global consultancy. And I was working here in the digital services team as a GIS consultant. I worked on cross-disciplinary projects in renewable energy, sort of site selections for local government, flight path analysis for airports, and I also worked on some major infrastructure projects. So I was able to kind of combine that experience with clients and my self-taught coding skills to start developing custom applications on client projects. And this was also the time that I finally got around to figuring out how I could start to give back by signing up to be a STEM ambassador. So I'll cover this in a little bit more detail in a bit. But this was when I started outreach with schools to help inspire young people into STEM careers. So with this, I had a little bit more experience now of lots of sectors implementing code. I felt ready to start thinking about moving into a developer type role, but I really didn't want to leave GIS behind. So I didn't. I applied at Esri UK, and I've been in this role now for 2 years. And I find that I can now really make use of sort of both sets of skills that I built up across the 6 years in a few different companies, developing sort of GIS skills, problem solving skills, and getting exposure to lots of industry problems and knowledge, as well as using those developer skills that I'd started to build up. So I just wanted to give an idea of some of the work that I get up to as a GIS developer. So I work typically with new products. So in the last 2 years, we've released products called ArcGIS Image for ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Velocity. And I work with these products when they're in beta. So this is before they're released. I provide feedback about what's good, what's not so good, and I report this feedback back to the developers. And part of this work is also communicating new products and providing technical advice and guidance when they are released. I also work on innovation projects. So sometimes they can be a new concept that we want to explore. Other times they can be a little bit less traditional, like our Worldview Chrome extension. So this uses world imagery services, and it allows users, it shows users a beautiful place every time you open a new tab. So this was a really fun creative project that I contributed towards. It's really well received by our users, and it's a really great opportunity for me to get stuck into some JavaScript. And if you are interested in getting this for your own browser, you can download it on the Chrome store. A little bit of a shameless plug there. I was also involved in a project for COP26. This is with the National Digital Twin Programme, where we developed a concept application to demonstrate the benefits of using connected digital twins. So this is where 2 or more companies would share information to further enrich the insights that are available to them. And this was demonstrated during a COP26 webinar, and then it was really widely covered in the tech and GIS news space. So that was really exciting to see. So I mentioned earlier that I've had quite a few jobs in the 8 years since I graduated, and I just wanted to say that I learned something completely new at each of these jobs, whether that be industry knowledge, a few new GIS tips and tricks, and I even learned lots of things about myself. Um, but I've been at Esri for 2 years now, and I can really see myself being here for a really long time. And that's for a mixture of reasons. It's the great projects that I get to work on. I feel really technically challenged, but in a supportive environment with the right blend of project work, development time, and opportunities for me to progress and develop in my career. So I'd just like to highlight some of the sort of key moments from the 2 years that I've been at Esri UK so far. So I've been able to present current and future technologies um, at both the London and Scottish conferences. So this is a really great opportunity for me to communicate my work, but also to network in the GIS community. Um, this year, I also attended the Northumbrian Water Innovation Festival to take part in a hackathon. So if you're not familiar with hackathons, it's where a group of people will come together to solve a problem from different industries and backgrounds. So I took part in a sewage overflow hack where we built a custom application that reports on real-time sewage overflows. And my group went on to win the best solution. So this was a really good experience to network, work together with professionals from all other industries. And it was super fun to come away with a nice certificate as well. So if that wasn't enough, there's also great development opportunities at Esri UK, such as dedicated development time, training courses that you can sign up to, and really fantastic support networks as well. So in terms of opportunities outside the grad scheme, first I'd really like to encourage you to apply for the grad scheme. I've had some really great presentations of current and previous graduates of what to expect on there. But I also just wanted to take a moment to highlight the careers website. So this is where I applied, and it's where we list our current vacancies. So you can find any current vacancies on there. But there's also a posting for the talent pool. So this is a listing where you can add your CV to talent pool for when opportunities come up. So again, it's really good to remember during this process that there is no wrong path. Whatever you choose to do will provide you with really valuable lessons and experiences that you can apply throughout your careers. And just to finish today, I decided to highlight No Wrong Path as it's a campaign that I got involved in over the last 3 years through my volunteer work as a STEM ambassador. So here I work with young people and teachers to help them understand the careers out there for young people as they start to move through the education system. So this is where I eventually found out a way that I could start to give back. And I really take part in this because through my experience, I know that not only is geography not really well understood in terms of the careers that are available, but it's also not often considered to be a STEM subject. And I think this is where GIS really starts to shine because it bridges that gap between geography and STEM. We're writing code, we're using location and analysis and bringing it all together using GIS. So I really love being a part of STEM learning, and I really encourage you to check it out. And finally, just a last note from me, I'm a chartered geographer with the Royal Geographic Society, and I'm a mentor there for people who are looking to become chartered geographers. Anyone can join the RGS as a fellow and get access to really great events, development webinars. And then when you have 6 years appropriate experience, you can apply to become a chartered geographer, which is a really nice recognition of your development and your contribution to the profession. And I'm mentioning this now because I personally found it really helpful to start thinking about this early in my career. And that's because you need to evidence 4 years of your development and keep a record of it. So I'm happy to take any questions from the chat, or if you would like to connect or reach out on LinkedIn, you can use this QR code.